Hello everyone, and welcome to round 1 of the Freakbob's Fenthouse v Maintenance Is A Birch game here, starting on Yukon as we do for round 3 in the tournament. This is the first of potentially 3 games we'll see here being fought for. I believe it's going to be 3rd and 5th place respectively. Winner of the 3 will take 3rd, loser will take 5th in the overall tournament. Taking a look here, we have Team 1 is ANS, Team 2 is OSP, as per normal. Team 1, Freakbob's Fenthouse, we have Cosmic Eradicator, Cosmic Eradicator, Cosmic Eradicator, and Spy Eye. Team 2, Maintenance Is A Birch, Vryn, Misk, Star, and Secret Mink. Taking a look at our deployments here on Yukon. Maintenance Is A Birch. I am seeing some Axfords high and some Axfords to the side here. Take a wild fucking guess who's bringing these ones here. I do know the names of Tethys's. One of the Cosmics is Axfords here. This is Tethys up here. Spy Eye here. Looks like the last Cosmic, fake Cosmic, is running... No. Could be running... No, yeah, it looks like we got some, two half CL, half cap fleets? Anyway, Maintenance Is A Birch. What do I see here? Tugs and shuttles on Dagger. Nothing else really there. We got one going low. We have a tugboat going low, possibly like an MMT trying to hunt like beamstones. Around E, we have some cappers. I'm seeing some liners. Double Acello in the middle there. Acello up high. Acello up high makes me think potentially missile cello. Or maybe rails. Could be 450. Who knows? I'm seeing a lot of holes here, so it might not be a 3K asset. Yeah, actually pretty standard, like, teams, if I'm being honest, in terms of the comps. No backline, no... From what I can tell, no backline, no fancy stuff, no missiles. No heavy missile tactics, I should say. We will see what each of these teams has brought when we actually get loaded in here. 20 seconds on the deploy timer here, as the teams are just finalizing their positioning and their strategies going into the game. For 3, 2, 1. Maintenance Is A Birch. Last minute ready up there for some people there. We will see what that's all about. I'm seeing double 450 liner. That is the no other way. This is likely Vryn in there. Forgot the name of the starter fleet. That's the 2 liners with the backpack stuff. Anyway, we'll take a look at what Freakbob's Fenthouse has done first, as per normal with these tournament games. Taking a look, we have Cosmic Eradicator. I can confirm that this one is the real Cosmic Eradicator based on the names of these ships. We have a Gun CL on the Boxer side, a Beam Destroyer, probably going to guard A. Up high, 1, 2, 3, 4 Corvettes, one of those torpedoes, 2 of those torpedoes, likely going to go high. Cosmic does like orbital cruise torpedoes, or orbital long-range torpedoes. Up next, we see Hexapuma and Alistair McKeon. This is Tethys here, the other Cosmic. 2 pretty skeletal Greedfords, but with a Rail Destroyer escorting them. We're seeing Comms Jammer Backpack, VLS 200 Backpack with a couple of SDMs in there. Fake Cosmic is running missile CLs. No, 1 missile CL, 1 gun CL. Okay. Missiles already out on the cap points here. These are anti-cap yubs. Yep, we got some TTGI Act and some Act EO Val already heading towards Eclipse there. We have some as well heading Dagger. Lastly, rounding out Freakbob's Fenthouse, we have Spy Eye in a more normal-looking Greedford fleet. Comms Jammer on the back of one, VLS 200 on the other, looking at some SDM 200s in there. And yeah, no Killjoys on any of the Axfords, although I doubt that's going to be too big of a problem for them considering what OSP has brought. Taking a look right now, I'm going to watch for these missile hits before I go take a look at what Birch has brought. Hybrids. Self-screening jammer covering the hybrids there. Those were Act AMMs. They do get 1 kill, although 1 just barely survives. Dumping mines now on the point. Dagger is going to get capped here. 2 cappers as well on Eclipse. One of them face tanks all of them. That was a cringe capper. Only 1 capper on E. My apologies there. It face tanked all of those. Wow, okay. Certainly interesting. Counter battery, we have a size 2 cruise counter battery here. Likely looking for, yeah, it's looking for Hogweed, who's trying to camp the point here. Defender is in arc, only 4 of them. These are Act Wake Val. They're coming in from a rear aspect, which will ensure that these will successfully validate. Yep, there's the validation. Target intercept calculated. One of them, the Seeker Cone, not big enough to catch, as one of them will hit, takes out the drive, although it drips onto the point. Counter batteries on both sides attempt to deny the points, but not quite on either side. Taking a look at Birch real quickly here, like I said, Misk looks like they're running a half, wait, what is this? 450 liner, pretty cheaply built one based on the damage control, plus Rail Cello. Okay, so I was right, it was a Rail Cello. Supporting that is a Bloodhound Tug with a gun on it for late capping. 1, 2, and that's a cringe capper. This is a gun mine capper. Is the other one gun mine too? Yes, gun mine capper. 2 gun mine cappers, 1 at C, 1 capturing Dagger, and then the other one is just sitting next to A, ready to cap the point. Secret Mink with the actual proper carrier J-Man. A couple of MMTs across the map here. 1 dead capper on the Dagger point. 2, 3, 4. 4 cappers left, and a cringe capper on Eclipse. It does drift off of E, though, which means that ANS is going to take the cap advantage here. Star is up next with double 450 Acello. These ones look pretty standard here. I'm seeing Auroras, Illuminators. Is it double para? Yes, double para. And then Vren last with No Other Way and final orders. Size 2 backpack 450 liners. Holding position by C, looking maybe to get onto the point. While I was busy yapping, the S2 backpack from the from the Marauders does manage to kill the capper on C point. This one was a gun capper, not one of the torpedo ones, so not the biggest loss, and ANS still takes the point. A now being capped by OSP, although it does get RPF to death by the Greedfords. I'm likely assuming the Beamstone got some fire into. Yep, Beamstone on reload, that's why it died so fast. Spy pushing the Greedfords up to the center of the map here, getting them arc onto the A point there. Tethys is currently dealing with Vrin right now. Vrin with an AP salvo out. Bloodhound is not currently tracking Tethys. You can see the Illuminator is flicking around here as the track quality is not really all that good. Tethys diving back down. Sending fire as they go. Damage is still pretty light on these liners at that range bracket. There's not really too much accuracy. Tethys actually does go dark, which forces the Bloodhound off track. That is pretty big. In the back line here, Voodoo is our 2 strike. Looks like it gets caught out by some SDM 200s fired by, I think that was the CL. No, that was not the CL. Who was that fired by? No, it was the CL. It was Cosmic CL. Yep, more SDM-200s out. They do manage. Ooh, they severely degrade and heavily damage the torpedo corvette that was looking for an A-cap there. That is pretty big. That is a very expensive asset. Cosmic was likely keeping that there. That one SDM-200 takes out 3 Barracudas. Okay, then. Sure. Eclipse finally captured by OSP as Mink steps back onto the point, although that is going to give ANS a significant lead in the points field here. Tethys doing a good job of keeping these Greedfords in position by C to deny it from any cappers that dare get onto the point. Spy Eye doing the same thing over A. Spy Eye flanking around the corner here does manage to catch Star relatively broadside in the Acellos. No target locks. Nope, that is a target lock. Perhaps firing 1 salvos without a target lock. Both teams gaining simultaneous crossfires on each other here as Spy Eye pushes their advantage into Star's flank here. Star already looks like they're trying to rebow tank onto Spy Eye's Axfords to absorb the incoming fire. Tethys is going out of arc relative to them and is going to be focusing on the liners instead. Liners starting to get beat up actually quite a lot here as they are just dealing in open space with Tethys's double Axfords. The Railstone is definitely not helping. Railstone was firing at them earlier, has now pivoted onto the Acellos here. That is definitely the priority target for this, as Acellos do not really react all too well when it comes to getting hit by rails, although poor track quality strikes again, this time on the opposite team, as the track quality on the Acellos is not good enough for any of those rails to get even close. Misk ducks out with the 450 liner here and gets a salvo into Spy Eye here, although given the range bracket and the poor track quality, doesn't really do a whole lot. They do know that Misk is there now, that there is a 450 liner there. Secret Mink now committing onto the C point here. Tethys immediately swaps secondary batteries over to the Capper here. That is 2 Greedfords, and Arc should make short work of this thing and deny C. We will see if they're able to kill it fast enough. Mink is target locked here, attempting to bow tank the Axfords, probably. Yep, there goes the bow tank as the guns roll, although not enough. The RPF is going to start adding up really quickly here. Damage control team Rapid taking a lot of fire there. CIC pretty injured. Reactor critical right now. You can see how fast masked 120 RPF does against these light cappers here, as this thing is going to eat a bunch of damage. Damage control team actually staying relatively alive right now. Usually it's the DC teams that we see die and confirm the kill on these things. It is not being microed. It is staying inside the reactor there. Missile launch from the liners here. These are Saw Hodge missiles out on Spy Eye. Spy Eye is currently not illuminating, not self-illuminating, but the illumination is still covering the chaff. Looks like there's illumination from low as well, as someone points an illuminator from down below. There's the self-illum from Spy Eye as that salvo is soft-killed. Secret Mink takes the cap point. The DC team staying alive long enough to get the cap off here, as Tethys is going to be forced to sort of reposition here. Cosmic does core the other healthy capper that was flanking around the side there. Sort of unfortunate loss for ANS. That is going to rapidly bleed out their cap advantage they had if they are not able to get back onto the points. Spy Eye setting secondary batteries to the Saw missiles here. Self-Illum is currently operational. Chaff goes away, though. The Self-Illum fails. Chaff disappears at the last moment. The Illuminator not retasking, although the illuminating from the liners is still illuminating the Chaff. Only a couple of missiles are going to land there. Spy Eye. Oh, Illuminator from Misk as well is likely also illuminating the Chaff from a bad angle. Means that a lot of these are just going to fly into Chaff. The liner, the Axford is starting to take some damage. Some missiles hit into the Mark 68 there. With the 450 from below is probably going to knock this thing out temporarily here. The Acellos continuing to just deal with Tethys up top, taking rail fire for their troubles, as Vryn is going to step onto the C point. Although Vryn, one of the Vryn's liners has taken some pretty heavy damage at this point. Their missiles are not really getting the work that I think they wanted here, as one more hit into the nose of this Axford is not really going to be doing a whole lot. Unfortunately, Vryn choosing to fire the missiles at the Axfords that have the most amount of internals. Tethys are pretty greeted, but still probably able to defend against that. Taking a look around the map, ANS is starting to do some attempts at Dagger, it looks like. Cosmic has moved up the gun CL Hephaestus to Dagger. There are mines. These are sprint mines on the point, which will probably eviscerate Orleander here, although it's going to leave the CL with nothing to stop it from just taking the objective. SCM-200's now out on Ballista Squadron there, trying to remove the EO track. Misk's Rail Cello has pushed up to the front line and is now under direct fire from Spy Eye's Axfords. You can see the Boy Wife here is taking some pretty heavy damage, but the sensitive Femboy Shark is still relatively okay here. Spy Eye is probably trying to move Boy Wife back. It is under a really bad crossfire right now. Orleander gets absolutely eviscerated by the mines, denying Dagger for the time being. However, Hephaestus is still active and still chewing through all of these cappers and stuff on the Dagger point there. Nothing on D side to really stop this CL from just taking the point and moving on. Vryn getting chewed up by the Greefords as they commit onto C, likely to try and commit to a flank on Tethys here. They are going to push out, unfortunately, into a ton of incoming fire. Both teams are starting to trade frontline here relatively evenly. Spy Eye's taken the worst of the fire on ANS, although the Rail Cello being here is a really big misplay from OSP, as it is just going to get gutted. This thing has basically no internals. It is currently magged down. It's so magged down that it's not even showing me a mag status. The fuck? Stored ammunition empty? Wait, hang on. Stored ammunition empty with nothing in the mag. The guns aren't even rotated. Did Maintenance Is A Birch forget to put munitions in the Rail Cello? Oh no. That's suboptimal. Yeah, it would have to be they forgot, because it's showing me no mag status. It would show me mag down if it had any ammo in it. As Maintenance Is A Birch takes a bunch of points in an asset that does nothing. That is unfortunate. Cosmic flanking wide here, just cleaning up these assets, making sure that there's no mines to surprise this CL when it takes the point. They have already done a ton of work gutting all of these defensive units on this side. Meanwhile, the missile CL actually pushing up to E right now. Nothing really to stop it from doing so. And the last gun CL that ANS has is currently sitting pretty by A. Probably trying to get a flank, likely maybe onto the underside of these liners and Acellos. Star is doing what they can to sort of stay alive here against the Axers. The Axers actually switch fire to the healthy one instead of continuing to degrade the already damaged one. Perhaps losing track, or perhaps forgetting which one they were firing at. The Boy Wife is completely mission killed at this point. It does still have the VLS backpack there with a lot of SDM 200s, although the carrier's not really tuned for anti-capital strike, so it's not really going to be doing a whole lot. C point now being capped by ANS as they step on a capper back onto the point. Only the Acellos are left to deny that. Some fighters do try a glide bomb attempt, but it gets cleaned up by the defender. Blackjack Squadron is currently flanking around with more R2s, though, to try and get that kill. We will see if they will arrive in time or kill this thing in time. It has already taken some pretty heavy damage to the 450s. Torpedoes now being programmed. These are going to be Act-Wake long-range torpedoes from Cosmic, likely going to commit onto the CCs. Looks like Cosmic is just going to full dump here. Blackjack gets one of their numbers picked off. The Act, though, acquiring the dead ship between Cosmic and the CCs is going to unfortunately go into the dead ship. C-point almost capped. Can Cosmic hold on long enough to take the point? Blackjack Squadron is committing. I don't think they have enough time. The rockets still have travel time. The Defender is going to clean them up. ANS is going to retake C-point as none of the rockets hit. More torpedoes being programmed here. These ones are ARAD. These ones should not go for the dead hull. These are hybrids being committed onto a liner here. That is going to be one hit. AMM's deflecting backward, nearly striking the ship again. Knocks out a C-55, although the liner is going to pull back and repair that damage. Spyite now putting pot shots into Misk's 450 liner, which is crossing the A gap here to try and deny Dagger. Dagger now falling to the gun CL here. ANS does know that this thing is pivoting over to stop the, to try and hurt the light cruiser, but, probably not going to arrive in time, and the light cruiser can just withdraw. Tethys doing quite well dealing with these Acellos here, despite the very, very cringed design of their ships. Holding up against these Acellos quite well. The Railstone putting in a lot of work on these bow-on Acellos is degrading them quite significantly here. You can see how much fires are being set, how many debuffs are going on all the guns. OSP's frontline is really hurting right now. Cosmic with the gun CL now trading fire with Misk down the middle as it looks like OSP is trying a desperation play here to get onto A. They are sending in a cringe capper in full view of a gun CL. Cosmic is firing HE, not RPF, like they need to do right now to confirm this kill, although at this range with a target lock it might still be enough. We will see. 250 HE does like to overpin on these shuttles from this angle, which is why you want to use RPF. Cosmic still not committing. Cosmic does have RPF, yeah? Yeah, Cosmic still has plenty of RPF in that magazine. There's the RPF swap onto A as they look and see it here. Nautilus has placed itself on the E point here, manages to take out the cringe capper that capped the point early on. Dragoon Squadron with R2s is currently flanking towards Nautilus right now. Nautilus, no defenders on this thing. AMM's launching. Intercepts some of the R2s, enough to survive and take the point, it looks like, as Melanie pushes around the corner with SDM-200s, looking to try and stop the bombs. The bombs miss as the squadron is forced into evade, but the SDMs also go for allied chaff. A little bit of an unfortunate situation there. CL that took Dagger, Hephaestus, is now backing off of the point, recognizing that it has done its job. It no longer needs to be on the objective. Misk has started to pivot back to assist with the front line, which on OSP is currently getting beat up really quickly here. Both the Cellos have taken some really heavy damage. Vren is down a liner as they do manage to catch Maxfield, though. Snipe the DC locker in the back. The Rail Cello throws itself onto A. Cosmic, why is there a rail silo on A? Cosmic, if only you know that this thing was not filled with bullets at the beginning of the game. A beam now going out from Cosmic up there. Kakarel confirms the kill, although the kill on that ship is not really doing much for ANS. That thing was not combat capable, even when it spawned in. Frontline duel continues as Tethys just beats the crap out of these unfortunate Acellos that got caught out by the rails and 450. Spy Eye, you can see them in the back there, perhaps trying to push around and get broadside on the... Nope, there's Spy Eye's healthy Axford poking around to the top here to get some pot shots into the Acellos. You can see one of them is currently, was CIC down. You can see how degraded these things are already. The rail supporting the 450, even 450 AP into the nose when it's eating rail fire is significantly powerful against these Acellos as this thing is crippled. Vrin is pushing their 450 liner around the side here, trying to get a surprise attack onto Spy Eye here. Spy Eye none the wiser as Vrin manages to catch this Axford at a decent angle. Vrin, though, is on reload, unfortunately, and unable to get the shots off as Spy Eye immediately detects that ship and begins pivoting. You can see the bow is already swinging over to bow tank final orders. Fire still going into the CCs. ANS electing to focus down these Acellos first before worrying about the liners. Probably the correct play here, considering these things are stuck in the open and severely degraded. They do not want them to get back into the cover and begin to rebuild themselves. 450 AP now coming out from final orders into Spy Eye, although Spy Eye has already limited the angle here. Secondary batteries and primary batteries have already swapped over to this liner, trying to get damage into it while it can before it pops back into cover to reload. E is being recapped by OSP as Secret Mink throws their carrier onto the objective here, although the missile CL is laying in wait for this. Cosmic has already begun to pivot over. Any missiles left in this thing? Some SGMs and some torpedoes are still left on this thing. That should be plenty to deal with this carrier. That is going to be a really rough loss for OSP. We'll see if it's able to cap the point in time. Looks like it will be able to. This CL is a little bit slow on the pivot there into cover. Spy Eye loses their bulk mag in the core in their Mark 68, although the target liner they are firing at has already taken some pretty impressive damage. The CCs are effectively out of the fight at this stage. They have been degraded to the point of almost combat incapableness. Yeah, one of them is down. One of them has no mags left, no restores. The other one is currently CIC out, sitting in the open. Torpedoes now being programmed. No, these are SDMs, likely on auto fire. Cosmic knows what this thing is. Yep, those are S2s now out. Python Squadron is going to take a couple hits here. The chaff is not enough. Python does not have enhanced countermeasures, which means that those Act Wake SDM 200s will have no problem hitting. OSP does manage to retake E with the carrier here, although this thing is going to go down pretty quickly here. Missiles already gutting the magazine and the hangars. Bulk mag is really exposed there in the front. But Neat Journeyman strikes again as it absorbs all of the S2s, taking a lot of damage to the center stack here by that last missile that manages to fly up and over and hit the superstructure. Secret Mink's back capper here detected... No, an AMM flies past it, likely not meant for the Cringe capper. Likely going to try a back cap at this stage, however, it is far too late. Tethys has already split up their Axfords to get crossfires onto the Acellos and finish them up. One of them is already gone, the other is severely degraded and likely not going to be able to get back up. Final Orders doing what it can to brawl it out with these Axfords, although with still 3 perfectly healthy Reedfords left to fight, there is not a whole lot it can do. Cosmic Eradicator pulls back around cover here, not actually committing to the E point. Probably the safe move considering that they hold cap advantage. They do not need to commit. Hephaestus is flanking underneath the map from its take of D, likely going to put some pressure on A, or perhaps help with dealing with what's left of OSP's front line here. Misk has been pushed out of position to recap the Dagger point, which will go through here. Nothing that ANS has can stop that. Although at this stage in the game, that's really not going to buy them much time, as these Greedfords are just going to bully this poor liner into death. Star with the rails just constantly going into their ship here. Is going to have a tough time. 13 fires in this Acello still. As they beam from Cosmic, this was the A-cap denial, is going to finish off that Acello, as there is not a whole lot it can do to get back up. No guns, no mag, no restores. That is a mission-killed Acello. Final orders is going to go down pretty quickly here. 2 power down, structure broken, mag down. This thing is hurting really badly. No longer able to hold track on any of the Greedfords except for the one at very close range. It's likely that this thing is going to die within the next couple of minutes here. Misk as the only liner left, really the only combat-capable ship that OSP has remaining, stuck on the Dagger point trying to retake points, as I believe that Freakbob's Fenthouse is going to take this first one. Ooh, look at this play from, excellent play from Cosmic here, moving the missile CL around to the backside of this carrier where it can't nose tank the incoming missiles. Cruise S2's out from the carrier as a last-ditch effort to try and probably deny A, I would assume. They see the boy wife heading towards the point. They are likely going to try and deny that as long as possible, just to maintain their advantage in the game. These are at Wake Vow. Boy wife is burning. Probably might get Wake Vow depending on the aspect these come in at. It's going to be a toss-up whether or not those see the Wake Trail. Cosmic is about to poke out here with the missile torpedo CL and just finish off that carrier. Misk doing what they can to try and face the front line here. They are going to pop out against Hexapuma here, which is not holding a great angle relative to this liner. It is busy bow tanking Vryn. Missiles do find the Axford on A, although given that this is in Axford and it's not even structure broken yet, it is going to have no problem surviving. It is going to drift onto the A point. Nothing to contest that. Cosmic electing to divert their missile CL away from Eclipse. Oh yeah, Cackerel is going to come around the side here and just absolutely vaporize the carrier here. The J-Man is not pointing in the right direction to absorb this beam hit, as it is going to find this thing broadside and eviscerate it. You can see it is already pre-aiming towards where the carrier is. Greedford's now swapping over to Misk here as this liner is going to die pretty quickly. There's the surrender from OSP as, yep, Freakbob's Fenthouse is going to take this one. It is currently 1-0 as it is on to the next round. That one really came down to the frontline engagement, I believe, and unfortunately for OSP, ANS had a lot of frontline, and it was positioned really well to take advantage of crossfires. Even though they had theoretically less hulls, it was 4 Greedfords and a Railstone compared to 3 liners and 2 Acellos, if we count the 450 liner in the cap fleet with potential carrier support. You saw how effective that Railstone was at just completely degrading these Acellos. These things were completely just gutted, even like from the beginning, as the rails just prevent them from having much impact. Although they did manage to kill a single Axford, that was mostly the liners, the remaining Axfords were still combat capable enough to just chew up those liners at point-blank range with the secondary batteries. Absolutely just shredded them to pieces. The rail CL, a little bit of a misplay here, as this thing likely took no ammo to begin with. Yeah, no munitions in this thing at all. We are not seeing any munitions here at all, which means that they forgot to fill up the mag with bullets. Means that this is unable to help. This Rail Acela would have been extremely helpful for OSP against those Greedfords, but unfortunately, they had a bit of a misplay in the lobby. Meanwhile, the lack of ships on the Dagger side and also E allows the Cosmics with the CLs to just fully hunt around the sides there, cap the points, kill the cappers, and secure the flanks. With only the degraded frontline in the center, OSP just had nothing that they had to throw left at ANS.